You are listening to The Catholic Wire.
Hello, friends. This is Wendy Haught. I just wanted to let you know that this recording was done in Omaha with Michelle Landsgard and Anna Sandquist, and we had so much fun visiting in person that we actually went over 2 hours on the recording. That was after we had already talked for 30 to 45 minutes before the recording. So I divided the interview into 3 parts. In this first part, the conversation ends with the topic of husbands working at home. So just kind of mentally put on your brakes when you hear that conversation come up, because you'll know, we're getting to the end of that part. And then we'll just transition right over to part 2. Now that the scene is set, let's get on with the show. Hello, this is Wendy Haught with The Christian Mother, and I'm so happy to be here in Omaha today. I'm on location, y'all, with 2 charming young moms who are the mothers of little people, and they don't have any older kids, so we wanted to talk about survival strategies. First off, I want to introduce Michelle Landsgard.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Can you tell us a little bit about how many children you have and their ages? Your husband's name, those kind of things.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Michelle Landsgard. My husband's name's Ben, and we've been married for almost 6 years now. And we have 4 going on 5 kids. So I'm due in May. And then our oldest daughter, Daria, is 5. Ella is 4. Claudia is 3. And Quinn is 1. So we have several children very close in age, but it's really great. I love it. I love our life. My husband is able to work from home right now, which is a blessing. So we can see him pretty often, and he's a big part of our daily life, which is great. And then a little bit about my background personally. I'm from a family of 10. My mom and dad brought us up Catholic, which was a great blessing. So I've been a cradle Catholic my whole life, and they actually live in Iowa, so they're pretty close to us. They're about 45 minutes away, so we get to see them quite often, and that's a big help too, because having babysitters is huge when you have kids. So.
Right. Wow, that's wonderful. Okay, Anna.
Hi, thank you for having me. So my name is Anna. My husband's name is Philip, and we've been married for 6 years. We have 3 children. Juliana is 4 years old, John is 2, and Agnes just turned 1. So a little bit about me, I guess, and my husband. My husband comes from a family of 11 kids, and I come from a family of 3 kids. I had received the sacraments of baptism, confirmation, and Holy Communion in the Eastern Rite when I was 1, and I feel like I converted when I was 17. We didn't live our faith any of that time, really. But thanks to my dad, he guided us and found the faith, and now we have it for ourselves, which is a huge blessing. It makes motherhood, it gives motherhood a purpose, and we are really grateful. I have an older sister and a younger brother, and my dad just moved in with us, and we live in Omaha now. And my brother just moved in with us last week, actually.
Oh, my goodness.
Which is really fun.
Oh, wow.
I've forgotten about that.
Wait, so your father lives with you and also a brother and sister?
Just my brother. My sister lives in Minnesota, and she has 4 kids with her husband, and they're also traditional Catholic. But my dad is traditional Catholic, and he lived in Omaha, and we thought, well, we're going to move out there from Oregon. Would you like to move in with us? And he said yes, which is wonderful. And then my brother just moved back here from Arizona, and he moved in with us as well. So
wow, y'all must have a big house.
Thankfully, we do. We got a really good deal on a house out here. If it had been any other house, it wouldn't have worked, but we have 6 bedrooms, and so
That's fantastic.
everybody has their own room. So even our children. So.
Wonderful. Okay, so I've got a fill in the blank question for you. I thank God for blank.
I would say having the Catholic faith as a mother, and also coffee, because people get me through the day and get me through this life. So thank goodness for those two.
The 2 big C's, right?
Yes.
Catholicism and coffee. Right.
Oh, that's a good one.
Okay, Anna, I thank God for...
Okay, I'm also grateful for coffee. I'll say that. And yes, I definitely, you have to thank God for our Catholic faith, and yeah, his plan for me is infinitely better than I could have even imagined. I feel like every day I have to think, like, I wouldn't have chosen this path for myself ever. I'm so grateful. So that's
wonderful.
What I'm thankful for.
Okay, so let's jump into daily life and talk about the routines, tips, tricks, whatever that you can share with other moms on how you manage when you don't have an older child at home to kind of help out. So you've got all these little people that need direction. And go ahead, Michelle, lay it on us.
So I would say my ideal morning routine, which doesn't always happen. I like to get up before my kids, so around 6, and then on a great day, I will exercise, which doesn't always happen, but it just makes me in a better mood. So then I like to drink my coffee and spiritual read for a little bit. And then the kids usually wake up at 7. So I'm usually on the go from 7 on. And we do breakfast and we get our day going. I really like to set a sort of schedule for my everyday routine, and it changes. I'm not glued to it, but I really like having 10 o'clock be snack time, and every day the kids rely on 10 o'clock having snack, because it kind of helps prevent, I'm hungry,
right.
When are we going to eat? So it doesn't always happen. They still say they're hungry like every so often, but it helps when you're like, it's not 10 o'clock, we're having snack at 10. And then I like to do Lives of the Saints and a little bit of religion and reading with them at snack time, because I've noticed their attention span is very short. So while they're eating snack, I talk to them and read to them and do Lives of the Saints. And it just helps, because it's not like they're giving their 100% attention, but they're putting food in their mouth and listening as well. So that helps. And then we have outside time usually if it's warm enough, which helps. I just think running around is such a huge help with little kids. It helps them sleep. It helps their mood. It helps my mood. When it's not cold, or when it is cold, we run around inside. So we do races and we do things just to get their energy out before naps. And then it's lunch, and then we do naps. And that is my saving grace for the day. I love nap time. I make them all take naps. Like, my oldest never does, but she just lays down and stays quiet and reads and has quiet time for an hour. And that's my hour. I can do whatever I need to do or get done. And I do not handle kids for that hour.
Right.
And it's just a reset. It's super helpful. And then past that, we it's not as a strict schedule as our morning schedule, but we play and we hang out. And then my husband is home by usually 4:30, or he's done with work. And then we'll get into dinner. And beyond that, it's pretty much our rosary and bedtime. And it's really helpful, though, to have somewhat of an idea of a schedule. And I just feel like if you don't, it turns very chaotic. So it's helpful to run your house and not let your house run you. And same with your kids. Just be like, no, this is my house. This is my schedule. You're on my schedule. And so that's my ideal version of my day.
Yeah, that was really great. Thanks, Michelle. I got some ideas from that, so it's pretty good. So our morning routine, we have like similar goals for the morning. I like to, typically, this is what happens, typically and ideally, I guess I will say as well. My husband will wake up between 5 and 6. He will get ready and work out a little bit, and then he'll get me up and I will get ready. And then one of us will go to daily mass. We live 3 minutes away, and we just moved from a 3-hour away drive from mass. And so we're trying to take advantage of the sacraments as much as we can. So one of us will go to daily mass. The other one will make coffee and do spiritual reading before the kids wake up. And as the kids wake up, typically that's when one of us will get back from mass. And then we will have about 30 minutes to just enjoy the morning a little bit before we get onto our schedule. So we'll make the kids a quick breakfast snack before real family breakfast later on. And we pray our rosary at 8:30 every morning. And then after that, my husband works from home, but he steps into his office and starts to work. And then I will typically make breakfast for the family. We'll all eat, not really together just because my husband's working, but I will eat with my children. And after that, we start homeschool. We do school from about 9:30 to 1 o'clock, roughly. Not super strict. My daughter is in kindergarten, but she really enjoys school. So I try to talk with her as much as we can. My husband will come and read the Lives of the Saints to her as well. So that's pretty great. And then, after that, we mostly play and read. My kids don't take naps right now except for our 1-year-old. So I will put her down. She takes 2 really short naps a day. But that's kind of helpful because when I put her down, I'll do breakfast cleanup and prepare for lunch. And then during her second nap, I will clean up after lunch and prepare for dinner. And so it's really nice for us right now. Since my husband works from home, we can pray the rosary together in the morning. That kind of changed our schedule quite a bit and made it so that the evenings are really easy, because before it's kind of the kids get a little bit riled up after dinner, and then it's hard for us personally to pray the rosary and have it be like a prayerful time. It's a little crazy. So that's our day. That's our typical day. So
when y'all are praying the rosary, how much participation do you get from your kids by their ages? Okay.
Oh, okay. So our 4-year-old, she typically, we have her pray the rosary with us. What really helps recently is that we had her make her own rosary. So she loves to pray with that, which is really nice. And she will pray the rosary when she leads the decades. So we will let her lead as many decades as she volunteers for. And she does a pretty good job. I wouldn't say that she's very good every time, but we put the most pressure on her to pray with us and inspire her to pray and all of that. Our 2-year-old is just meant to be quiet, so he'll play with his rosary or sit down, maybe read a spiritual book. And our daughter is one, she kind of just scoots around everywhere. So, but that's it.
What about you, Michelle? How does that work with the rosary and your ages, your children?
Right. I would say it's similar. We always usually pray it in the evening, so we'll do it around 7 o'clock. It's kind of winding down, quiet time more. And my 5-year-old, she's pretty good. We let her lead decades as well. And then she will always do one Hail Mary at the end of the decade, as well as my 3-year-old and my 4-year-old. So we always have them pray one Hail Mary at the end of the decade, which helps because they kind of get excited to say their Hail Mary, and it's kind of fun. And then we also let them read spiritual books. So they each get to pick a book, and they'll read it during the rosary, and then they'll switch books, which I don't mind. And so they'll kind of have 3 books to read during the rosary. And my 1-year-old is definitely the hardest because he's always the little jokester when rosary starts. So keeping him entertained is interesting. I usually end up just holding him on my lap, and I'll read or I'll look through books with him while we're praying. But I would say they don't really complain about it, which is good. I'm happy about that. It's never like a drudge. So that's good. And they keep me honest too. If we don't pray the rosary, they will remind me like, hey, we didn't pray the rosary. And I'm like, oh,
great.
Yeah, you're right. So
Yeah.
it's good. They kind of prick my conscience.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it is kind of interesting because I'm like at the bare minimum for having several children under 5, and you're on your 5th child. And so it is like a different dynamic when you have kids a little closer in age.
Mhm.
And yeah, like my daughter is pretty much the one who comes to mass with us and prays the rosary with us and says morning prayers and all of that. Whereas my son, we're working on like saying grace with him. And it's the smaller things, but your children are just like right next to each other in age, which is really nice for them. And also just a little bit more, you have to be more aware of like how you fit them into the prayers. And all
Right.
That. So,
Right,
yeah.
right. So y'all kind of glossed over this fixing lunch and dinner, and I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, I remember trying to plan taking a shower so that I didn't have somebody crying, so how are you? Do you just have no problem getting meals on the table with all the little people running around and everything? You've just got that managed.
So don't take this the wrong way, but I usually send them outside or into the basement during meal prep.
Okay.
And we have it's not like a creepy dungeon basement, but they have toys and entertainment. So we kind of send them downstairs or outside. And then I try to let them take turns helping me, which doesn't always go great because, as you know, and as we all know, cooking with kids is not like how you see on Pinterest. So that's kind of hit and miss, but I like to have them take turns like preparing the meals. And it's way too chaotic to have all of them help me. And it's way too chaotic to even have them on the same level while I'm prepping. But they're just used to it
Same
now.
level of the house.
The same level of the house, right? Because they're just in and out of the kitchen and asking for snacks and wanting my attention. So, yeah, my 1-year-old, he sometimes is in the kitchen with me, which is okay. He can kind of sit on the counter and eat what I'm cooking, and it works. But for the girls, I make them leave. So I don't know if that's the best advice, but it works.
So tell me, are you a crock-pot mom?
Yes, absolutely. 100%. I will often make crock-pot meals during nap time, which works well because their nap time is 12:30 to 1-ish. So I just throw something in the crock pot while they're napping, and that takes care of the meal. So that's such a help.
Okay.
Yeah, that's huge.
All right, Anna, let's hear it.
So I think with a lot of trial and error, I've found out that for lunch, like snack boards work really well. So a couple of times a week, we'll have like leftovers for lunch if there are leftovers from dinner. But mostly we have snack boards, which consist of a few different types of cheeses, salami or pastrami, crackers, and then some like olives, cucumbers, carrots, and berries. So it really is pretty routine for me to put together, and it works for the whole family. Even my husband will come out and enjoy that. And then he'll typically have a protein shake afterwards. So he gets like his filling meal, and the kids just love like choosing for themselves off the snack board. And that really helps lunch go by pretty easily. And then we don't do too many snacks in our house. So they typically get their like fun snack time, sit at the table, enjoy the lunch. But it's also just like a bunch of
finger food
snacks.
Finger food. Okay.
Yes.
So
it's harder for me to prepare a hot meal for lunch. I kind of just don't do that just to give myself like an easy way. And yeah, we all really enjoy that board. And then for dinner, my kids are all awake while I prepare, unless my daughter Agnes is sleeping for a little bit of it. But if she's awake, which is a lot of the time, I will just hold her, have like a baby on the hip while I prepare dinner. And dinners typically go like, I try to have a protein, vegetables, and then a small carb like potatoes, rice, or pasta, and then something fresh as well. So whether that's like fresh veggies or fruit or something. And right now I am cooking for also my dad and my brother. So when they are home, so it's kind of like an adjustment. And yeah, it's a little crazy when the kids are kind of all in the kitchen and like, excuse me, I need to get over there. You're in my way.
Right.
And having my daughter being held, it makes it a little bit more difficult.
I notice I'm leaning over because I've got the baby on.
Yeah, right. It's like when you're wrapping up and down.
I'm like, don't, because I'll hold her while I'm flipping something in a pan, or I'm like, yeah, I have to hold her away from the stove. Typically, is like a lot of the dinner prep.
So
no,
no baby wearing. You're just actually holding her.
Yes, I would let her crawl around a lot more, or I would wear her in a carrier. But she has like health issues, and so it's easier for me a lot of the times to know that I'm like right next to her, holding her, and then I'll put her down if I'm chopping things, but then I'll pick her back up to like cook things on the stove. And so,
right.
So it's not super easy, but I kind of just try to make the best of it.
Right. Oh my goodness, it's a good workout, huh?
Yeah.
So who needs those strap-on weights, right?
Right.
So I wanted to ask you about social life. I know you're involved with Christian mothers. You're involved with Christian mothers too?
Yes, yes. I've been for about a year, maybe a little more, but yeah, it's a great atmosphere, really great meetings, and it helps just to have like-minded moms to talk to and commiserate with and all that.
Once a month? Y'all have a once a month meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And you're vice president?
Yes.
Anna, I'm talking to Anna. Anna is the vice president of the chapter of Confraternity of Christian Mothers here in Omaha.
I started going to the Confraternity of Christian Mothers meetings when my mother-in-law was the president, and it was a few years ago. Then we moved to Washington and Oregon for a few years, and we were 3 hours from Mass, and the meetings were on Saturdays, so I would never go. It was just, I'd have to drive up both days. And so when we came back to Omaha, I just went to a meeting, and it was at the time they were going to be switching out the president and vice president. And I'm not sure how it happened, but I'm vice president, but it has helped me so much already, just like kicking it up a notch and learning a lot more about being a mother. I feel like your faith is ever changing and growing, and every day it's like a new conversion, and having the moms is really nice, because I didn't have mom friends or play dates or anything like that for a few years while we were so far from church. We didn't have friends or family where we lived. And so now I just kind of feel like I am getting all of it. And what's really nice about the confraternity is that you can guarantee that the members are praying for you every day. It's like part of the confraternity that you say the daily prayer for the mothers and their children, and there's always someone there when you meet them. I used to think play dates were really important, and when it's winter, we definitely don't do play dates so much because, the kids can't run around together. It's not nice weather, and we're inside a lot more. And so I now think that it's just nice to be able to know that you have mom friends to go to when you need them, and then have play dates like in nicer weather. That's kind of what I do. But the confraternity is wonderful. It's just to get inspiration to be a better mother, a good Catholic mother, and I think it's a huge blessing to be able to have those monthly meetings. And a lot of the time we have the schedule for what we're going to speak about, and we have readings and maybe a sermon or a book or something. And then a lot of the time is conversation around those topics, and it gets emotional sometimes because I think mothers are just like, we just all talk and it refreshes us. And I always think of the scripture quote, "Come to me, all ye that labor and are burdened, and I will refresh you." And that's what I feel about the mothers meetings, that they do that for us. So
right, that's a great verse for that. Yeah, absolutely. I can picture that too, what you're talking about. We've only had 2 meetings so far at our little chapter, but the women were all like just so excited to be together. It's just like today with you two ladies. I'm just really enjoying the visiting and talking, and you just don't get that with your husband.
Right. It's so helpful to have another woman to talk to.
My husband will say, I had my 10,000 words already at work. I'm done. So,
and then like, do you want 10,000 more? I have them for you.
Yes. Right. So do you do the play dates too?
I would say,
nicer weather?
I do like doing play dates. We like to have some social time on Wednesdays too, because my daughters take piano actually at Mater Day. So I come in every Wednesday for mass, and then they do piano. And then a lot of times it works out that I can meet up with my sister or a friend. So that's really nice. And then also I really enjoy, I'm doing a homeopathy study group right now. And it's not like exactly like Christian mothers meetings, because those are just awesome. But we get together once a week and we just talk about health and how we can help our children with health problems. And it's just another really great community. It's helpful to bounce off questions and ideas and just kind of have something that you can intellectually be involved in. And it's not so mundane, because so much of the things that we do as a mom are just daily mundane dishes and diapers and all that. And just having something to think about and to study and learn and intellectualize, I think it's really helpful for me, because I would be stagnant otherwise, I think, and just having something to really think about and learn is helpful for me. It just helps me to keep myself and keep my identity a little bit. So, and it's also something that I can do for my family, which is nice as well.
Right. Very good. Let's see. Maintaining your own spiritual life. How does that go when you've got all the little people? Are you trying to do it? I know you're doing your spiritual reading in the morning, Anna, you said, with your coffee, and you too, right?
Yes.
The coffee and spiritual reading. Anything else that you work in, or is that pretty much if you get to Mass every other day and do spiritual reading, and then you're doing the Lives of the Saints and all that with your kids, and then Rosary.
I don't have too much else scheduled, I guess, except for like morning and night prayers. But during the day, if I do ever get a moment, I'll do a little more reading or just say like little prayers. I think as a mother, ejaculations help a lot, because that's something that it's like every 15 minutes there's something that you can say.
Right.
And so it kind of makes the day a little bit more spiritual, and you can offer up every little thing that happens. And I think, like, as far as, something spills and then there's a diaper that needs to be changed, and then like a lot of little things. I read recently a book that says your children are individuals, but there might be like 10 of them. And so each individual might have made a mistake in or around the same moment. And so that's kind of a good way for me to always think, like, I'll just offer up this one little mistake that this individual made, and not dwell so much on like the whole, everything's kind of going to shambles. It's kind of like
right.
Everything happens at once. And I just take it like, well, each child did one thing. And so I'll clean up that one thing that each of these children did and move on. So I think as a mother, you can unite so much of your sufferings and trials to Our Lady and our Lord. And a really wonderful thing about our faith is that that the saints and Mary and our Lord and Saint Joseph went through so many of the things that we go through on a daily basis. So it's always like sharing in that life. So I think if I wasn't a Catholic, I would have had a much more difficult time being a mother, just the way that I am. I am so grateful to be a Catholic mother. and to take the children that God gives us and hopefully give them back to him one day. So yeah, it's not to say that things are like so good in my life or something, but right now I'm kind of at a calm after a storm. And so I just am trying to appreciate this time. And that is like making sure that I offer up a lot of things, because we had a time last year that was probably our most difficult year when my daughter had like a health crisis. It took a great toll on me. And the one thing that's kind of like not silly now, but I just think all the time I was saying to myself, as sorrowful yet always rejoicing, because motherhood can be really tough, especially when your children have health issues or something like that. But there's always something to be rejoicing about. So I forget the question, but
I was just wondering whether, outside of the specific things you're doing with the kids or as a family for your spiritual life, was there anything that you wanted to, discuss about personally, more of a personal thing? And what you were saying about offering up each individual thing answers that perfectly. And the ejaculations work very well with that. I've really learned to appreciate those just in the last year. So there's always more to learn, or always more to explore and incorporate. So I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that, Michelle? Or...
Yeah, I think what Anna said was great. I would just say that having specific times for confession is helpful for me too. Just going I usually go every other week, and my husband goes every other week. So just making sure that we consistently go to confession, we consistently receive communion. That's huge. And having novenas is really helpful for me as well, because it just helps me stay consistent in my prayer life, because I'm just as guilty. I mean, I could, forget to pray the rosary, but we're doing a rosary novena right now, and that helps just to keep me honest. I mean, because you miss a day and your novena is over. So it helps for me to do novenas because it keeps me consistent, and it helps to switch it up to just find new novenas and new prayers. And we recently had our home enthronement to the Sacred Heart, which was really great. And there's a prayer that you say every day for your home enthronement, and it's beautiful. And I feel like when I say that prayer, it's different. And, I feel like a lot of times with morning prayers and night prayers, you say the same prayers every day, and you don't think about what you're saying. It's just repeating words, which is great. You need to do that too. But it helps for me to switch it up. So we recently totally changed our morning prayer schedule, and I find that I pay attention more. I am saying new words, and so my mind is automatically thinking of those words instead of just the same over and over. So I think it helps to switch it up and keep it fresh.
Yeah, I know. I have the 1938, I think. I have two different editions of the Mother Love book, the prayer book for the Confraternity of Christian Mothers. So I switched those out. One is 1960 and one's 1938 or something like that. And their morning and night prayers are different. There's a few things that are the same, but I switched those out, and I do different rosary novenas, change those up too, because I will just stop paying attention, and all of a sudden I'll think, wait a minute, I don't even know what I'm saying.
Like I just prayed that whole thing, but I didn't get anything out of it.
Right, I know, and then I feel terrible. So, okay, so both of your husbands are working at home.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I was thinking, okay, so my husband always works away from home. And so it was a big deal when he got home in the afternoon. Is that still the same? I mean, does your husband escape from his room and your kids are like, yay, there's Daddy? Or they just know he's there and they're like, okay, there he is again? Or
So for us personally, my husband, Ben, actually works out of our garage. most of the time, which isn't ideal because it's not heated or anything. So it gets pretty cold, but regularly he's in the garage. So he comes in for lunch. He takes a half an hour lunch and then he goes back to the garage and then he'll come back in around 4 or 5 and then he'll be done for the day. So it's still kind of a home work atmosphere. For a little bit, he was in our house. And that was very difficult because I was trying to keep the kids quiet while he was on a meeting. And I it was hard. He was in our sunroom, which is where I keep all of our school stuff and our crafts and my books. So I would have to kind of come and go. And I was always worried about disturbing him. And so I don't know. I think the garage situation, while it's not perfect, it works better for us just because I can let the kids do what they want and I'm not as stressed about, okay, be quiet, daddy's on a meeting, and the kids don't feel like they can, oh my goodness, I can't go get my crayons because daddy's in there. So that actually helps for us. It's more of like mentally for me, it helps because I can be like, I'm not asking him anything. I am separate. We are separate. He's working, I'm working. We're separate, and having that division for me is helpful because when he was in our house, it was like, oh, hey, can you come check this out? Like, hey, can you print this off for me? And we were both distracting each other. So I know people make it work, but for us, it was hard when he was in the same house.
Yeah, that's pretty great that you can have him go into the garage. We actually don't have a garage right now. Otherwise, that'd be a really good idea. But yeah, my husband, so he's been working from home since the whole coronavirus. So I think that's mostly why a lot of people are working from home right now, or a lot of men, whereas my husband used to go into work every day from like 7:30 to 5 or later. So our lives are pretty intermingled right now. And yeah, it definitely throws off the dynamic a little bit, but I know that with my husband, it won't be for more than another year, I don't believe. So there are definitely a lot of benefits to having your husband work from home. When the kids are taking a nap or when my youngest daughter is taking a nap, I'll quickly run to the store with my older 2 kids instead of bringing all 3 or things like that. But yes, it definitely affects. I feel like the days kind of feel more like Saturdays. Like Saturdays as a stay-at-home mom, typically the house gets a little more messy just because we're kind of on weekend mode. And so I've had to take that and arrange our schedule around the extra messes that there will be just being like a family at home, I guess. So yeah, with my husband, he has a lot of work calls and he's in our laundry room, which is right off of our kitchen. So it's kind of hilarious at times because our house goes in a circle. So the kids can just run around in circles. And I don't let them do that while he's working because most of the time he's on calls. But anyways, that was a really long answer. Yeah.
Oh, no.
So
you have a central kitchen or something?
Yeah. So the kitchen is just right when you walk in the side door, which is our entrance. And then he's right to the left. So it's like right in the thick of things, I guess. But it's not too bad. And I think my husband will probably move down into the basement. We're getting our basement remodeled and it will be done on Monday. So he'll move down there.
Oh, yay.
So that'll be really good.
It's going to help.
Good for you and good for us because we want Tim to come and work on our
really?
chapel when you're
good.
Yeah, I told Father Sandquist we need a kitchen at our chapel. We need to get our kitchen rebuilt. It's basically we stripped it, we gutted it, and so.
Yeah, he does really great work, and it's really fun having another Catholic just down there in the basement. Right. So if we ever have to run down or something, he's a lot of fun and does really good work. So that'll be great.
That'll be awesome, Dad. I know your husband will be grateful to be out of the laundry room.
Yes, so, I know it's sad because we have this house with a lot of rooms, but it doesn't. Not every room works for an office, so the basement will be really good.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
Okay, my dears, that's a wrap on part 1. Let's get on over to part 2. You're listening to Mothering Littles on The Christian Mother for the Catholic Wire.
Thank you for listening to the Catholic Wire. If you have found this show helpful, please say a prayer for all our collaborators. Don't forget to subscribe to our channels and share with your friends. For questions and comments, you may contact us at thecatholicwire.org.